I will introduce our guest now, Dr. HILDA first, maybe medical doctor and CEO of United. Now she day online to join us. Dr. HILDA, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We did try.
Right. When they asked the question earlier, so make you just briefly explain to us what hepatitis B, maybe people understand.
And the types when they
and the type where they.
Which one they keep person pass?
Make we know.
Okay, so hepatitis simply is about inflammation of the liver. That's when your liver becomes inflamed due to a viral infection.
Okay.
That's what usually causes it. But there are other causes of hepatitis, also known as autoimmune hepatitis and drug-induced. The autoimmune is a form where your body begins to develop antibodies against your liver tissue. But it's not common. It's usually an autoimmune condition. Then due to drug use, medication, you can also have a type of hepatitis. But what we're going to be focusing today is about hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. We know that hepatitis B and C are the most popular ones that we all know about. So I'm going to be explaining them. So in summary, all hepatitis A, C, D, and E are all RNA type of viruses, while hepatitis B is a DNA type of virus. While we're going to delve into that, hepatitis A is gotten through fecal-oral route, the transmission. You get it through contaminated food, drink, water, all those things like that. So, but hepatitis A is not fatal. It's mild and usually resolves on its own.
Okay.
But hepatitis B and C, no, it usually resolves on its own. Okay. But hepatitis B and C, these are the fatal ones. And for hepatitis B, we have the acute type, which will come and actually resolve on its own. You'd see the symptoms early enough with adults, but it will resolve on its own. But what we need to be careful of is the chronic type of hepatitis B. This is a type that has complications. Yes, it can lead to liver cirrhosis, primary liver cancer. This is what we need to be worried about. Then hepatitis C too. It's also very, very deadly. In this case too, it's usually the silent type where people don't really get symptoms. It's asymptomatic. So you can have hepatitis C for a long time, for over years and not know. And then at the end of the day, you find out that you have chronic liver disease. So that's why a lot of awareness has to be made on this particular condition. Hepatitis B is gotten through blood products, like for instance, blood transfusion that maybe they didn't screen the blood properly, or maybe infection, you get in contact with razor, injections, needle pricks here and there, and also sexual contact. It's a form of sexually transmitted type of disease. So it's very important for people. The hepatitis B.
Okay.
Yes, and also C too. These two variants, they are very, very deadly, and people need to be aware of this. Hepatitis C too, mostly from needle prick, razor, sharing of items, other shops. And we'll talk about this and think it's not so serious. But a lot of people we see in the hospital coming up with this, when they come to deliver, they're coming up with this illness. A lot of mothers, they have hepatitis B, especially where I am right now in Abuja, in the northern region. A lot of patients are coming on with hepatitis B. And right now, because the focus is on the pandemic, COVID-19, recently cholera outbreak, there has been a kind of loss of focus on this issue. Then apart from hepatitis A, B, and C, we also have D. D is a type that comes with hepatitis B. So when you have hepatitis B, it can now go into having another type, which is hepatitis D. It causes co-infection. So when you have hepatitis B, you are susceptible to having hepatitis D, which is another serious complication from this. So you have to be very, very careful. So this hepatitis B helps it express itself more. So that's why it thrives around hepatitis B as an infection. Then we have hepatitis E, which is very acute, so it will resolve on its own. It takes about 5 to 6 weeks to express itself. Hepatitis A you'd see it within 15 to 49 days, around 25 days. Hepatitis B takes a bit longer, 4 to 12 weeks. That's the incubation period for you to manifest symptoms, while hepatitis C takes 7 weeks. And even because it's asymptomatic, you may carry this disease for a very long time before you know, and then at the end of the day, you may need a liver transplant, which we don't want into at the moment.
All
so
right. Now, when
it's very
person,
important.
okay, doctor, now when person knows something, you understand? Now, when body give you sign, now when body
say
tell you, now you go no say yes, so doctor,
Yes.
something don't they happen. So give us some of the symptoms when they, because when we don't they sick for this part, the thing when they carry us to go hospital, not too much. Now when my body don't hurt, if I don't they vomit, but let they pay me. If you reach there, now we go even tell them, say, I bet, help us do malaria and typhoid test. You know, they pass like that. So waiting person go experience for them to know, say, this one don't pass the regular one when we say, Emeka, they give you medicine for chemists for. So waiting be the sign when we say, we go see, when we go know, say, this one don't pass, be careful.
Okay, so it can range from mild to severe symptoms.
Okay.
In the start that, like in the beginning, you just have light symptoms like, okay, weight loss, you feeling nauseated, you'll be feeling tired, headache. These are things that people usually mistake for just malaria, your joints will be paining you. That then again, over a period of time, there'll be progression. You'd see that your urine has become darker in color. You need to pay attention to your urine. You don't just pee and leave it. Your urine sometimes can give an indication of your health, your current state of health. So your urine will become dark. And then some people also develop clay, we call it clay colored stool. So your stooling will have the look of light whitish clayish color. So you know that there's a problem. And then the very obvious symptom that everybody should be mindful of is yellowing of the eyes. Call it jaundice, clinical jaundice. It's not yellow fever all the time like we all think, when your eyes is yellow. So you have to be, whenever your eyes become yellow, you know there's a problem with the liver. You have to go get yourself tested. They're going to run some tests. They're going to do liver function tests for you, and what's called liver ultrasound. Liver function test, you find out that your liver enzymes are going to be elevated. AST, ALP will be elevated. You can also find increase in bilirubin. These are all enzymes in the liver. I'm not going to go into complicated things right now. These are things, but you're going to find, okay.
Okay, when we talk prevention on top of this matter, you get vaccine for this particular matter.
Yes.
Aha, now waiting one here. So if they don't screen you, say you know get them for body, you get injection, say you fit take, we go make you say you know go get them.
Yes, we have the hepatitis B vaccine and even the A available. Unfortunately, there's no vaccine yet really for C. Best thing is to do about this is to take your hepatitis B and A. And hepatitis B is usually given at birth. So they give the first dose of it, 0.5 ml around at birth time. Then they will give the next one 6 weeks, then 10 weeks, then 40 weeks. So if you have a child, ensure that you complete this first dose between the first 6 to 18 months of life. Is very, very important and can go a long way in helping the child. And if the child and your child has grown up to an age where they did not get this, you can still get the child vaccinated. As an adult, you can go and get vaccinated. It's very important. You have to take 3 doses of it, and this offers immunity for about 10 years. And even if you complete your cycle of this vaccination, you can actually be sort of protected for a long time, like basically lifetime. So it's very important for people to be aware of this and for the government to fund this vaccination. Is very, very important. So we should be aware it's out there. It's called Recombivac HB. So you can have and different variations of this vaccine too. So it's important for you to get vaccinated. So we are preaching that every single person should get vaccinated. And the most important thing is that we should have children vaccinated. Very, very important. When we can tackle that from birth, it goes a long way in preventing this. Yes.
Okay. Dr. HILDA, you make one statement regarding the fact say you want to make government a push for this movement. Shey government they do enough of the pushing? Shey you they see say government they actually push to put this one out there? At least we talk from the beginning say so far so good now. Now the Delta variant of COVID-19 now would they look everybody eye did here. Shey government they push for this hepatitis vaccine to also come out, because as you talk about the symptoms, they like almost every regular kind symptoms a person go get. But you can't indicate some major ones where you know say make they look out for the urine color, your physics color, and your eye color, all those kinds of things. But government they do enough to push this awareness forward for us as it be.
Okay, in all fairness, I would say that last year the government did try to put out some awareness in the form of trying to prevent this in terms of like spread from mother to child. So they were trying to promote more vaccinations in children at birth. I think Nigeria was one of the first African countries to actually start the whole initiative of vaccination at birth. But there's so much that needs to be done. Yes, there's so much that needs to be done for this. The government needs to fund this for vaccination. The government needs to sort of invest in healthcare in general and not just focus on one or two diseases. There are a lot of diseases killing people and having adverse effects on people, and will have adverse effects on people in the future. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's important for people to really, really get vaccinated. It's important for them to fund this, for them to provide more avenues. They've started the one from birth, which is good. But a lot of adults, I mean, we have like 20 million people living with this, and you don't know, because it's not something that unless it becomes very chronic, you see like serious signs. So you might be dating someone, or you can be with someone, person has hepatitis B. So another thing you can do too as an individual, if you're about to get married or see someone, you should ask that the person should be screened. It's very important. So when we take personal responsibility for ourselves and try to also do things, not just necessarily wait for the government to do everything for us. So we should take accountability. We should also prevent this by making sure that whatever objects that we're using, we don't use razors, we use protection. We ensure that whatever thing, blood or bodily contact or saliva, whatever it is that we're doing, bodily fluids, especially during sexual contact, we ensure that we protect ourselves. People shouldn't just go out and feel free, okay, just COVID is going away. But there are other serious diseases such as hepatitis B that have adverse complications. Chronic liver disease is not funny. It kills, it's fatal when it gets to that level. So you need to, and even can lead to cancer. So we need to really, really pay attention to this condition. It's really, really becoming, I mean, 20 million people in Nigeria, that's a lot. And even more than that, that was just a survey from last year. So we don't know, yes. So we don't know what the current state is right now. It would have grown because people were home over there. So like a lot of things must have been happening. So it's important we gain awareness for this.
All right then. Well, thank you so much. Now, Dr. Hilda, first time we talk to since she's a medical doctor and CEO of United, and she talked to us on top of this hepatitis matters per se today. Now, World Hepatitis Day, according to the World Health Organization. Dr. First, thank you so much. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Now, see the Good Morning Naija show. Plenty CD on top of the show. No come out.